Hi, this is Bill Punch with another video from Michigan State University covering an introduction to computer science using Python CSE 231. Today we're going to talk a little bit about an example program checking a string to see if it's a palindrome. Let's get started. So it's important that we know exactly what a palindrome is because the definition is a little tricky. So we know that a palindrome is a string sequence that spells the same as it goes forwards and backwards, but there's two rules that we used when we were applying palindromes. And the example we're going to use all the way through here is the palindrome, truly a palindrome, Madam, I'm Adam. And the rules are that, number one, we ignore a case in the palindromes. And so we say that this big M is the same as this little m. We're going to convert those to both lower cases and we'll ignore it. And two, we're going to ignore all non-alphabetic, non-numeric data. So we're going to ignore the comma, we're going to ignore the space, the apostrophe, the space. Those are all going to be characters that we don't pay any attention to. And if we do that, and we convert our original string, it will look something like this. And if you look at that, it is indeed a palindrome. So we really have two stages. We need to convert our string into this interesting format, and then we need to check to see if in fact the string is a palindrome. So how do we do it? The first thing we have to do is, for the conversion part, we know that we have to lowercase it. And if we're going to lowercase our string, we have to remember to save the original so that we can reprint what the original looked like. The second thing is that there's a series of specialized strings stored in the string package. And so some of these specialized strings are called string.ASCII lowercase, string.digits, string.whitespace, all the whitespace characters, and string.punctuation. And we can convert our original string in one of two ways. We can either look for the good characters by using the lowercase and digits, or we can get rid of the bad characters using the white space and punctuation. So if we import the string function and we run this, we see that we get these strings, which is what I said. So here's the lowercase letters, here's a string of digits, here's a string of white space characters, which we can't see, and here's a string of punctuation characters. So let's look at a conversion that approaches it by finding all the good characters. So we're going to record our original string, which is Madam, I'm Adam, as we typed it originally. The first thing we're going to do is create a new string called myString, and we're going to lowercase it. So we're going to apply the .lower method and create a new string, myString. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through each letter in the string. So for each letter in this original string, now in lower cases, if the letter is in either the string.ASCII lowercase, the alphabetic letters, or because we lowercased it, so it should only be lowercase, or if it's in string.digits, what we're going to do is we're going to create a result string starting with an empty string, and we're going to add that letter which passes the test into the result string. And at the end, we'll have looked at all the characters and grabbed only those characters that meet our criteria. And if we run this, that's finding the good. Here's another way, dumping the bad. Same thing, same original string, right? We take our lowercase string and we convert it to lowercase and we record it in myString. And now we're going to go through all the bad characters. And the bad characters are any character in the string.whitespace or string.punctuation. And what we're going to do is we're going to concatenate them together to make one really long string and go through all those characters. Anytime we run into one of those characters, we're going to replace that bad character in myString with an empty string. So essentially we're going to remove it from the original string and dump it. And if we do that, we get exactly the same thing. So two ways to convert it: keep the good, throw out the bad. So now we have to ask the question, is it in fact a palindrome? And there are roughly two methods to do that. The first method is that we're going to use the string indices, right, from the beginning and from the end, and ask the question, are those two characters, the first character in the string and the last character in the string, the same? If they're not, it's not a palindrome and we're done. If they are the same, then we need to move an index up one from the front and down from the back and repeat till we get to the middle. So if we were to look at the picture for our string, here's Madam, I'm Adam, right? And what I'm saying is that we look at the first character and with the last character. And if they're the same, then we take the indices up one and we say, well then, is the second one the same as the second one, and so on and so forth till we get to the middle. That's exactly what we do in this code. We remember index 0, which occurs at the front. We remember index end, which is the length of my string minus 1. Remember, we're 0 index, so it's the length minus 1. And we remember the middle, the length of the string over 2. As long as the end is greater than the middle, that means we're still going. We compare the front index, which started at 0, with the back index, which started at n, and compare them. If it's not the same, if they're not equal, not a palindrome, break out, we're finished. Otherwise, what we keep doing is we bring the end index down by 1 and the front index up by 1 and do the same comparison. If we get all the way through this while loop, that is, we don't break out, the else fires, it's a palindrome. Here's the same kind of idea, only using a slice. Let's go back up to our little picture here. What we can do is say, look, I want to compare index 0 character, and I also want to compare the index minus 1 character. I want to compare those two characters and see if they're the same. If they are, I want to make a slice. I want to make a slice that goes from 1 up to but not including minus 1. I want to lop off those two characters and repeat the process. And if these two are the same, then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lop off this character and keep this one, making the string smaller and smaller. If I get all the way through, there's no more string left. It works. That's what we did. I remembered my string that was from above. I remembered this check string here because check string is going to get modified. I look at the first and the last. If they're not the same, break and we're done. Otherwise, we keep looking, and then we reslice it from the first, which means we throw out the first character, up to but not including the last, so we throw out the last character and repeat. If we get out of the else statement, it's a palindrome. Let's try that again. And it is. This is still Madam, I'm Adam. But really, the easiest thing that you could possibly do is the following. If the string with all the spaces and lowercase and everything is in fact a palindrome, then the following ought to be true. And this is very Python-y. Is the string double equal to, and this again is our reverse method. We're going to reverse the string. If the original string equals the reverse of a string, it's a palindrome. If it isn't, it's not. Very nice.